Assalamu alaikum, family, peace, healing, and light. And welcome back to another episode of Healing with Angelica's podcast, where we discuss all things healing. And if you are new to the show, welcome, 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 beautiful souls. On today's episode, we have a special guest joining us today. He is a researcher, author, activist, entrepreneur, and one of the most censored millennials in the world right now. Rizza Islam is here as we'll be discussing today's topic, the Matrix, artificial reality, and the quest for truth. Brother Rizza, welcome and thank you so much for joining me today. How are you?
Peace, peace. Assalamu alaikum, sister. I'm powerful, doing very well. How are you?
I am great, but grateful for the Allah. So I'm doing good. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yes, our praises due to Allah, brother Rizza, and also I know most of my viewing audience know who you are. So I will not get into a bio today. You had a very beautiful bio, by the way.
Thank you so much.
However, to those who would like to know more about our special guest, please refer to the description in today's show notes. So now let's get started on today's episode, The Matrix, Artificial Reality, and the Quest for Truth. And please, for my audience today, do not hesitate to put any question that is related to the topic in the comment section below. Inshallah, I will strive to get to as many questions as I can. So, in a world where the lines between the tangible and the virtual blur, the matrix, artificial reality, and the quest for truth dives into a realm where digital dreams and harsh reality collides. As we come to approach a deeper understanding of the matrix and construct the challenges our perception of existence and reality, this profound inquiry invites you to question the very nature of your consciousness and the truth you hold dear. As we unravel the mysteries of artificial reality and its implications for the human quest for truth. Are you ready to awaken from the illusion and see the world for what it is today? It's time. And that brings me to my first question for you, Brother Rizza. How would you define reality?
The way I would define reality is what is real, agreeable, and ultimately tangible, not simply what one can see with the eyes, but what one can experience if you so desire to. So, reality, some people have their reality, you have your reality, and then there's the reality that exists regardless to whether you or I agree. So right now, the reality is we are on StreamYard. We're broadcasting through YouTube and Facebook. That is the reality. Now, some people could say, I don't agree. I don't believe that you are on a virtual streaming platform. I don't believe y'all are streaming on YouTube. That's their reality. Okay. And then some people say, well, you know what? I think they are streaming on YouTube, but they're streaming somewhere in Alaska right now, and they're both over there. Okay, well, that's their reality. So people can have different realities, but their reality is what exists regardless to what anyone feels or thinks.
Yes, praise be to Allah. That gets me to my next question. Makes me think about the way that our perception is based off just how we've lived and how that also impacts how we see the world. Just how you gave that beautiful analogy of us being on StreamYard, but someone's perception may think otherwise, right? So that takes me back to, and that also brings me to the actual topic of this podcast, The Matrix, right? So, from that famous 1999 science fictional film, The Matrix, there was a red pill and a blue pill, right? In which represented a choice between remaining in a state of blissful ignorance, which was the blue pill, and accepting a painful reality, which was the red pill. How does this relate to the reality that we are currently living in today?
Very simple. And actually, The Matrix happens to be my favorite movie. For anyone who
Feel like-
was, that is my favorite movie. And it was written, of course, by a Sister Sophia Stewart, a Black woman, and she wrote it based primarily on the Bible, primarily. So the way it relates, so you have a whole movement now called the Red Pill Movement, which is a new name for the consciousness movement or the conscious community, right? So in this younger generation, they call it the Red Pill Movement, meaning people who are not plugged into the matrix, people who are not indoctrinated by the system, people who do not want to believe what the government says or what the dominant society has to offer them. So you have that side, which is literally taken directly from that analogy, red pill, blue pill from the matrix. So you have that side. Anyone who speaks on behalf of the government, anyone who perpetuates the lies, the indoctrination, what the system is putting out, they call you a blue pillar. they
Yeah.
call you, they call you. I mean, this is crazy right now. I'm thinking this is how things have evolved, and they say, "Man, this person has been red pilled." If what you're saying is true, factual, etc. So all of our activists will be considered red pilled people, right? We know it as conscious individuals, people who are aware, awake to what the system is doing, who are educated about what Satan is doing, the time and what must be done, the knowledge of God, the knowledge of the devil, etc. So that's we know in full detail. So how it has been taken is literally from 1999 up to this point, it has changed in the language, I would say roughly every 10 years, but it means the same thing. And the
Mm-hmm.
beautiful thing is, as we already know, as cream always rises to the top, so does truth. It doesn't matter how much Satan tries to keep people down, uneducated, indoctrinated, asleep, unaware, unawake, the people find truth because truth is a universal thing and it always rises to the top. So that's something I'm noticing now. It's just interesting to me how, regardless to what anyone has to say, all of the information comes out. People will find someone else that they gravitate towards who has the same type of speech overall or the same type of messaging, but using a different language. So it's just I just find it interesting how today, all the way back from 1999, we are in 2024. This is 25
Yeah.
years, later, and we're still having the same type of conversation. But again, it's in this younger generation using a metaphor from 1999. I just find it to be very interesting.
Oh my gosh, it is very interesting. I know at the time when the Matrix came out, I was very young, didn't know
Mm,
nothing about it. However, as I'm, in age now and seeing how, there is more, dominant of them talking about the Matrix now and how
mm,
it's relating to what's going on now. And as I took a deeper look into the Matrix, I had to go back and actually watch it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what you're seeing in that movie years ago when I was a young girl, I was like 4, is happening now. And
yes.
now that, we're seeing more of an awakening, more so I want to believe with the youth when it comes to just actually understanding that, we are in this dynamic called the Matrix.
Uh-huh.
So that makes me think of like, why is it so important as of right now for us, especially the youth, to stand more in their truth now more than ever?
Mm. We have seen this time and time again. I'll say, like, the Honorable Miss Louis Farrakhan has told us multiple times that every generation, someone comes before us speaking the same truth. And we have the decision whether we want to listen to them or not every single time. And he said, this generation is the most powerful generation that has ever been produced. He said, you have the quickest access to information. All you lack is the guidance with which how to use it. So this generation literally has nothing stopping it like those before us did. So we don't have, I mean, we do have the reality of drugs, criminality, we have, miseducation, we have broken homes, all of these things exist, but at the same time, we have a way to access information just like this. If we want questions answered, we can get them answered. If we want to make money without anybody being our boss, we have ways of doing that. If we have ways to build things and do things in a way that has never existed, I would say, at least within the last few centuries here in America. So when the minister said that, it made me think thoroughly, because to have power, as we know, is a very serious thing, but how we use it is what matters the most. So this generation, I would say, when it comes to that, we're in a very critical position where we're making these moves and really we don't care for authority. Now, this is the biggest thing, right? So, okay, we don't necessarily care for who says what about anything. There are 14-year-old millionaires now, just to give us a deep perspective, who don't care. They don't know much about discipline outside of how to make their money and how to focus on their money. They don't have people who they listen to as far as authority figures. They don't have too much respect for elders. They don't care for what this system has to say. They don't care for what this government has to say. They don't see barriers. They don't see stops. They don't believe in the word can't or I can't, or who told you I can't. There is this limitless mentality, which is a beautiful thing in a sense and a detrimental thing in another sense. So this generation is literally in the position to make a rapid change, or as the most honorable Elijah Muhammad said, a revolution, meaning a complete constructive change. It just depends on how quickly we can educate them and turn them in the direction with which to build in a nation-like manner. So this generation really is at the point where we can make a drastic amount of change in a very short period of time. That's where we are.
Yes, yes, I definitely believe so. That also makes me think about the big influence that not even just all of us in general are having, just from the media and propaganda, but mostly the youth, the music industry, and um, the big role that it's playing in the way that is allowing the youth to move. So, what's your thoughts as far as like what role has the people of this world who control the media and music industry played in the desensitization of the natural human experience?
They have been very wise, as the minister has said multiple times. They have been wickedly wise in how they manipulate data, information, and the mindset of the people. They know how to push people in one direction to do one thing. They know how to maneuver them in another direction to do another. Movies and media overall, this is something I've told people plenty of times. They don't spend millions of dollars to make movies just so you can go to a theater and laugh. They don't spend millions of dollars and all these hours just to create a film so that people can go to a massive large theater, eat their popcorn just to laugh. That's not what they do. Movie theaters and the system of media, how Satan utilizes it, are mass mental manipulation machines. They are cultural controllers. They are narrative navigators. They control and they position people to do certain things either at that moment or later on. Everything from the different films dealing with artificial intelligence and AI, all the way down to all the zombie movies that became series, all the way down to the Purge movies, which is, I don't understand how you would even put into a person's mind that crime is illegal. For 12 hours, you can do anything. Why would you even inject that into a crazy as hell society where over half of the population of America, over 125 million people, are currently on one or more psychotropic drugs, which the adverse effects are suicidal thoughts, homicidal tendencies? Why would such a thing even be injected into people's minds? Just as some examples. They have controlled that in a sense. Now, the biggest problem is once social media came into the picture. So from the mainstream media, from television programming and movie theaters, once that was stamped all the way solid, okay, then they came out with this. And the social media maneuver was something that was a double-edged sword for this government, because they didn't invent it for our benefit. They invented it as a way for us to spy on ourselves with our full permission. Okay, that was the origin of it. It came out right after 9/11. The first quote unquote social media platform was called 6 Degrees. We're talking about before MySpace. We're talking about before all of that. There was 6 Degrees, and then they started to come out with more programs that were literal spy programs on our phones. Once that happened, they said, beautiful, we have a way to access people's information voluntarily. They'll give it up. They'll post up there what's on your mind on Facebook. We telling everybody what's on our mind, what we're eating, where we at. everything, we give it to this system freely. Problem is, once we started having access to information, you have people from the government now putting files onto this thing that we can access. You have whistleblowers coming out who used to work on behalf of the government, now putting out data to where the people can access it. You have so many things now that the people are able to utilize with this. So what they intended for us to destroy ourselves with, we are now able to benefit ourselves with. So we know Allah, we know the enemy plans, Allah plans, and Allah is the best of planners. So that's a big, big situation. So I know I kind of went through a lot, sister, but that was a very pregnant question.
No,
So,
you're fine.
it's a very pregnant question. So,
Yes.
the point is, Satan intended for the media to destroy the people, which in a sense it has, in a sense. But then in another sense, we have been able to utilize it if we utilize it wisely. Like the minister says, social media, he said, and I'm paraphrasing, social media can cause us a lot of grief. Use it wisely. Okay, so we can do some good things with it, but we just have to be mindful of what we're putting in our minds, etc. So it's a very serious thing. And what I've noticed now, by the way, because I know the topic is dealing with artificial reality.
Yes.
You have 12 former members of Google who were over the artificial intelligence department, specifically dealing with Chat GPT. And many of them have said, they have come out with an open letter now. 6 of them wrote in their pieces anonymously because they know they can be targeted by the government that they used to work for. The other 6 made their identities known, and they have said that Chat GPT can potentially make the human race extinct. They just put this letter out yesterday. They're very serious. And they said,
wow,
the danger of artificial intelligence and what we have done. This is what they're saying.
Okay.
So what we have done, it is now at a point where we have to stop this artificial intelligence, specifically Chat GPT and others like it. And they're really serious about talking about how they have, in a sense, given technology far more power and control than it should have had. And there are many other people who agree. Elon Musk said the same thing. He actually said, I know I've invested a lot of money in artificial intelligence, but he said, I believe the downfall of humanity will be AI. And a lot of people, Chinese billionaires, have said the same exact thing. They have said by the year 2035, the majority of jobs that are warehouse jobs, trucking jobs, middle, I would say wage jobs and lower, they said are going to be replaced by robots and artificial intelligence. They're very serious about this. So again, we have to be mindful of where this thing is going, because once we step away from God and we start putting our belief in things, creation rather than the creator, then we will be destroyed by the creation. Very simple.
Ooh. Now I feel that. Praise be to Allah. But that just made me think about just how easy it is for us to use AI. And it also is allowing us to stay in this mindset. I won't even say mindset, but just in this habit of laziness, when you can get things faster through Chat GPT, or, just it's stopping our brain from doing what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to solve problems. It's supposed to think and do things like that. So I can see where the potential risk is with the AI creation. Now that just makes me think as well. And this is for my next question. And also, you guys have any questions? The time is now, because brother be busy. So any questions related to this topic, please put it in the comment box below. But that makes me think, how do we as people maintain a sense of identity and self and now becoming an artificial constructed reality?
The knowledge of self is paramount above all other things. And when I say the knowledge of self, I'm referring to the knowledge of God, the knowledge of Satan, the knowledge of the time and what must be done, the knowledge of what the enemy is doing presently. Because remember, we always are looking at present time. That's when we learn about the actual facts. The word actual doesn't mean just real. Actual If you look at the full derivation of the word, it means up to the present moment. So when we say actual facts, we're talking about facts from history past all the way up to the very present right now. We must know exactly what is taking place. And Mother Tynetta had a, may Allah be pleased with our sister, Mother Tynetta had a lecture on something called the 10th system, which is referring to the brain. And she went into details as to how important it is, how it breaks down, and why that should be considered one of the vital systems of the body, separate as a study within itself. Because the enemy studied our brain physically and metaphorically and dissected every part of it and started to target every single area: our name, language, culture, religion, God, mores, customs, cultural norms, abilities, practices, etc., and started to remove every single one of them piece by piece. We have the ability to now put those back piece by piece, and we have to focus on that. Now, if we want to, as you were saying, sister, so eloquently, be lazy and ask Chat GPT to give us back our knowledge, I don't think that will work too well. So we have to get away from this as often as we can and start to get back to this, start to get back to all of what we're being taught. And I'm talking about, see, now you see, I'm in my library, I'm in my area where my books are. Okay, so we start with a few basics. Okay, and then we go into all of the others so that we can get a thorough knowledge of self, first off, second off, etc. And then from there, we begin to study all other things. A lot of us are lazy learners, sis. A lot of us are lazy learners. I'm going to open up this side of things too. There's a very quiet situation taking place that a lot of people, and I say quiet because not enough people are talking about it. My foundational training is in education and in particularly literacy. There was a large number of us who are illiterate, a large number of active grown adults who cannot read or write to the degree that we would like to. And we operate in the world every day like everything is fine. You know, we can regurgitate things quick. We hear something, we can parrot real fast, but we may not understand it. We don't know how to read a book, define the word because we can't read the dictionary. This is a very real situation that is taking place, which is another, I would say, chunk of why people don't want to learn.
Yeah.
Because they have trauma connected to learning. And that's another serious thing. So we have to get back to literacy, the proper ways of knowing how to read, how to write, how to understand definitions. This is a big reason why we don't have the thorough knowledge of self. It's not just, oh, I'm lazy, or because we have a collective traumatic experience when it came to reading and writing. At a certain point, we were killed for reading. And that is still something genetically on our genes when it comes to thinking about learning. Some of us have this standoff. I don't want to read, even when we can. We just have this standoff because we have trauma connected to it, and we don't even know why. Some of us still suffer from the epigenetic traces of what happened to our ancestors who were trying to read and who were beaten or killed for having done so and made an example of in front of everybody. Don't you N-words read no damn books. And that's a serious thing too.
Right.
And scientists have, and geneticists, and molecular biologists, they have studied that a lasting trace on a cell, meaning we can experience or feel the pain or trauma from our ancestors all the way back to over a century. We can feel that. So there are layers as to why I'm bringing these things up. But in order for us to really face this situation, we're going to have to study. We're going to have to, I'm talking about not just audio books, y'all. Come on, y'all know what I'm talking about. All right, because that's convenient. I get it. It's convenient. I'm with you. But if we don't get back to studying the physical, tangible books, having discussions that spark thought, where we can start tapping into both sides of our brain, we won't get too far. We really won't get too far. And by the way, reading physical pages works both sides of the brain. That's another thing. reading on technology doesn't necessarily do that, because it takes the physical to do it like this here. So it helps to exercise the brain even more. But I know, again, that was a loaded question, sis.
Oh, listen, nothing's wrong with that. I am grateful. Praise be to Allah. It made me go back to think about, and I can be honest, like I was only taught in school, in the education of this world, about the Holocaust. And we had a month of Black History Month. It wasn't until I joined the nation that I ever knew about the transatlantic slave trade. And with me understanding what actually happened with our people, made me be more sensitive and aware as to why our people are the way they are today. So that makes me go back and think, why is it so important now? Because I don't know what's going on as far as in this world school system or as of now, but I believe that if I only got little bits of it, and this was going on 10 years ago, I can only imagine the children in the school system now not even knowing anything about their history as far as Black people. So why is it so important, or what is your thoughts on our children being properly educated as far as about our history?
The Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad referred to the schooling system as the killing fields for a reason, where he was referring to the educational assassination of our children and the educational murdering of our knowledge. So when we were talking about, we're talking about education, that's why he created Muhammad University and Sister Clara Muhammad, and the women who are heavily a part of maintaining that, and why it still exists today. And really, in large part, people should be grateful to the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, because without the Nation of Islam and the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, really independent schooling in America wouldn't exist to a degree. That's another sidebar note on that. But we can't trust this system to educate our children and then get mad when our children come back indoctrinated. It's like the saying, right? How can you get mad if you send your child to a bunch of Romans and they come back acting like a Roman? Well, that's what we're doing. And although I understand that there are real situations and realities, some parents have 2 jobs they have to work, or they're single parents, and that's the only thing that they have time for. They have to send their child here. They have to go to work here. They can't be a homeschooling parent, etc. I get all of that. I will say this: how much is the future of your legacy worth? Because our children are who carry on our legacy. How important is it? How much is it worth, really? I am not going to give the mind of my child over to Satan because I don't have enough time. That's not a good enough excuse for me. Whatever I need to do to make sure that the mind of my child, which is the mind of our future, which is the mind of our nation, is secured, I'm going to have to do that. We're going to have to really step back for a second and reorganize how we think and start to look at what is really important. Once we're done with our time, it goes to them. Okay, so do we want the future to be better than what the past was? If we do, then we must invest the right time in those things that will create a better future. So for that, I will say we have to create more independent schools and support the ones that already exist. We have to support Muhammad University of Islam in every location, because there are multiple. Support the Marcus Garvey schools because they exist. Support the Moorish independent schools because they exist. Support the Hebrew Israelite independent schools because they exist. We have a lot of independent schools that exist that teach very well in mathematics and history and science and writing and all of these beautiful things, and engineering and music and all of this. There are some beautiful independent schools that are producing collegiate level students by the 10th grade. So we have them. We just need to support them more. I'm not interested in, yelling up and down, oh, go to this school because it's a prestigious. No, no, no. Our schools are prestigious. That's make that the norm. No, no, no. What our schools have is top tier, on point, the highest level. Yeah, that's yes. Let's make that the norm in our conversation, and let's support them not just with our words and our prayers and our fists and all that. Support them financially because the schools have to pay teachers. The teachers have to be able to work so that they can pay their bills. The students have to come to a school that have the lights on, that have food, that have good books, and not leaky roofs. And like that's a deep conversation, sister. It's very deep because we don't support enough of what we have and then complain about it when we no longer have it. And that's not something I'm interested in anymore. So we have to really get behind it, not just with our words. At this point, we have certain things. We have to support what we have if we want our future to be better, because we know what this system produces: dumb, deaf, and blind. That's what it produces overall. We have some schools that, innately, naturally, we're God's people. So we have this natural inclination to scientific thinking, or to analytical thinking, logical thinking. We are able to break things down naturally. Before we get tainted by this world, our minds are thinking rightly. Like the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad says, and like the Honorable Farrakhan says, it's not until we get into these killing fields or into this indoctrination center where they start turning it off and then we start thinking crazy, like we start utilizing terms like gender fluidity now. Where the hell did that come from? And that's being pushed in these schools where you're telling children they can be whatever they feel. That's Satan all day. Where did that come from? See, but that's the new way that they're pushing. So in the next 10 years, we're going to have less doctors, less engineers, less lawyers. We're going to have less nation builders. We're going to have more gender studies professors. I'm just let y'all know right now where this is going. More gender studies professors, more emotional engineers. I'm so serious. Emotion. Their specialty is in engineering and helping to cultivate emotion, and they will be able to have a PhD in that. I have heard some of the craziest PhD degree holders, master's degree programs that are based on nothing that builds society. In the future, we're looking at less productive human beings and more people based on feelings, based on satanic principles, based on the rule of Satan, no rule of God, no actual logic, nothing that's going to be productive or that's going to be beneficial for the overall progress of humanity. That's where it's going. So if that's what we like, then good. Keep not having no damn time to teach your own children. But if you care about it, then make the time to properly educate them. Or if you don't have the time, get with the people that do and pay them. I'm talking about people who have the same mindset. They're going to educate properly. Pay them a tutor. Get a tutor. Have the independent schools or families who are homeschooling their children. See if they can bring your child along and have them include them in their private class and pay them for that. Seriously, it can be done. It has to be done. I don't have no children yet, but I'm planning. And inshallah, when I have my child, I know, I'm telling you on that, they're not going nowhere near a public school unless it's for somebody else's graduation. Other than that, no, ma'am. No, ma'am.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Praise be to Allah. I'm so glad you touched on that topic because, and please excuse me, I got a little, but
I understand.
Thank you so much for touching on that topic. And it was one word that you brought up. You said production. And it makes me think about how, honestly, that's life is activities. So when we are less in the spirit or momentum of activity and not producing, that's when we continue that's when we come into self and I want to say turn to death because we're not producing anymore. There's no life activity anymore. So I'm so glad you touched on that topic. Praise be to Allah. And for all of you, I'm sorry, that are enjoying today's episode just as well as I am. Please show your support today by texting the word donate to 937-313-2466 today to help sustain future episodes just like this. Also, if you're enjoying all other broadcasts here on CTG Broadcast, please show your support as well by donating today. Information to donate will be shown on your screen below. I love you all. Now let's get back to today's episode, The Matrix, Artificial Reality, and the Quest for Truth with our brother Rizza Islam. I see that we had one question here. Y'all come on with the questions now. We have a question here from our brother Mark Muhammad Jr. He asks, has there been any information to treat or healing of autism?
Oh, very good question. Is that my brother Mark? There's my brother Mark. Man, peace to my brother. So I'm like the soldier. Yes. So dealing with autism, there have been a number of not only treatments and different methods. First thing is the detoxing from heavy metals was the key factor they realized overall to start with is detoxing from heavy metals. And there are a number of methods. They refer to something called chelators that help to not only remove the metals, but bring balance back to the brain. Because remember, autism, which is on a spectrum, meaning there are different levels to it, different layers to it. Some are more severe, meaning they have worse autism, meaning they're nonverbal, they can't talk. They are severely negative or violent toward themselves, where they hit themselves or they scream in high pitches. So that's more on the severe side of things. Then you have some who are on the lower level of the spectrum, meaning they're verbal, they can talk, they can understand you, and they speak. It's just every now and then it may take them a little longer to process things. Okay, so that means they have a lower level of autism. So it's a spectrum, meaning it goes in levels. But the first thing that they looked at is autism being a heavy toxic circumstance of the brain. So there's heavy metals coming primarily from the shots. People can still try to argue this. It's over. The fact is the shots are connected to it. End it. Leave it alone. Okay, that's just is what it is. Let's stop playing these games. That's first thing. Number two, anything that helps to detox heavy metals are the first things you want to look at. Activated charcoal is one. The problem with that, however, is too much of that helps to remove good minerals as well. So you can do that in moderation. Activated charcoal. I believe I think it's zeolite clay, I believe is another one, which does the same thing. So it helps to remove heavy metals, but it also helps to remove good minerals as well. So you want to, not do too much of that. But I will mention bladderwrack does help to remove heavy metals without removing good minerals. So bladderwrack, which is a seaweed, has far better benefits as well. So that's three different things when it comes to the removing of heavy metals. That's the first thing. Second thing they notice is removing dairy, interestingly enough, from the nutritional diet, a large amount of dairy, removing heavy sugars, which is for overall health, as we already know, heavy processed sugars and processed foods, those different things. Also, good amounts of cardio to help with the circulating of the different toxins to get out of the bloodstream or out of the fatty tissues and pushed out of the body, whether it's through the urine, the saliva, the sweat, etc. Those are all different methods. And then, of course, there's a whole lot of other ones, but I'll also mention here, when I was working with children who are on the spectrum, one of the biggest things I noticed was the earlier you catch it, and this is very serious, the earlier you catch it and you start to reverse things because of certain behaviors, treatments, and different naturopathic remedies, the better. The earlier you catch it, the better. And this is why they want to push and have always pushed for children on the child vaccination schedule to receive all of these shots so early. Why they do that? It heavily toxifies the body and it causes the nervous system to go out of whack like this. Hence why the children can't control themselves physically, because it is literally causing the nervous system to go haywire. So the first thing I will say above anything else, the number one prevention is to not give your child the shots in the first place. That's the number one. And this, I know for parents whose child is already on the spectrum, I know, but I'm saying this for future mothers and fathers and people who are considering this. Please do your best to study the childhood schedule. That thing is now roughly it's over 17 shots, over 78 doses,
Mm.
17 shots before the age of 12.
Oof.
But be mindful here. It is very sick, it is disgusting, and it has never been evaluated for safety.
Mm.
They have never done a full test to determine that the childhood schedule of shots has actually been tested for safety, that is good, it's healthy, there's no problems with it. They've never done a full study on it. So I'm just pointing that out. A website that you should go to is called vita.org, vi-ta.org. This is a website that was put together by a cellular molecular biologist, one of the top scientists in the world, a Black woman by the name of Dr. Christina Parks. On there, she breaks down the entire childhood schedule. She breaks down the COVID shot schedule, a whole lot of other shots, RSV, you name it, goes into the toxins, goes into the pros and cons, and then shows all the studies, all the references, you name it, and detox protocols as well. So I recommend you go there to get far more data on it. But the reality is, yes, there are methods where a lot of parents have been able to reverse the autism circumstance, but a lot of them did it because they caught it early.
Yes.
That's the biggest thing. So again, I know that's I didn't expect that question now, but definitely. But yes, so solutions do exist. But I will tell you that is a part of the artificial reality and the destruction of our future in education as well. Because do you know that they have determined, United States Congress, with who was former Congressperson Dan Burton at the time in the 90s, they had determined that by the year 2032, 1 out of every 2 children will be on the autism spectrum.
Mm.
Where is our future if our children don't have the ability to communicate,
Ooh.
don't have the ability to drive a car, don't have the ability to bathe themselves? They are incapacitating our future to where these children will not be able to be productive adults. They won't be able to contribute to society. They won't be able to hold a job, own a business. They won't be able to get married, have children. We really have to get this through our head. The artificial reality is being created. It didn't just pop up. It's being created. Human beings who do not have the ability to be a human being are artificial realities of themselves.
Ooh.
And this is a situation taking place with a lot of children in America and all across the planet, but particularly in America through the shots as one area. Then you have the drugs in another area. Then you have a lot of different circumstances. So that's another layer to it, sister, since we're talking about artificial reality, because that it's not real. It's not real. They're there, but they're not there. So yes, ma'am.
Ooh, ooh, ooh. We needed to hear that. Sometimes the truth hurts, so, but this is what we need. Praise be to Allah. It makes me go into my next question. Now, you kind of put a similarity with just that question the brother asked, just about the health of people with autism. Now, I wanted to know because you go in hard about this, brother. But I need you to go in a little harder. But you've been hard. I know you're gonna go in harder, but what are your thoughts? Because, man, I think this is one thing that we all have to take control of, and it's our health.
Yes, ma'am.
What are your thoughts on the impact that the medical system has had on the health epidemic that we are now facing?
Yeah, you know what you're doing with this question. It's a good question. Okay. First thing I'll say is this. The most honorable Elijah Muhammad said that we must remove our mouths from the devil's kitchen. All right, that's one. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said that our lack of discipline will be our downfall. And if we refuse to increase our discipline where our health is concerned, we will die fast. Minister said this plenty of different ways, plenty of different lectures, plenty of times. He got on the men for our buttons stretching on the suits, trying to hold them together. He got on the sisters for the same situation. He got on the people all throughout the community and the world, saying that how the hell can we stand up and fight against a system if we have high blood pressure? Now, this is where we're going to get humble now. Let's humble ourselves, because a lot of us talk tough. This is something I've told a lot of my brothers and sisters who are all over social media who are not living in reality. I'm like, wait. Y'all talking real tough now. Okay. And I'm talking about just in the world, period. Just people in general. If you can't fight, why are you talking so tough? Like, let's make this clear. If you can't fight, if you can't run a mile, if you can't do a pull-up, if you can't do a push-up, why the hell are you talking? This is where we got to get now. And I'm saying this as a reminder. This is why we have to be examples and be the clean glass. Like the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, we don't even need to condemn the dirty glass. We don't have to attack our people. We simply have to be the example. And that is what I know I strive to do. Many of us strive to do, and we have to continue to do that. Why? Because we're dealing with a system that is actively pushing to exterminate us. It has not changed. We're on social media. We're currently streaming through YouTube and Facebook. And everybody's like, oh, yay, sounds nice. No, take this very serious, please.
Yes.
You are not exercising. Stop talking. If you are not training, stop talking. Faith without works is dead. Your 5 prayers a day means nothing because a devil can pray too. Of course, what the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan has said. If we are not matching our actions with our intentions, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan in The Shock of the Hour said, to be sincere wrong is to be dead right. And you get no high marks for being sincere. You get high marks for being right. So we have to get involved in activities and actions that match what it is that we're saying. So when we look at these 2 books that I'm mentioning right now, How to Eat to Live, because some of us done forgot where a lot of the new people and nutritionists and doctors are quoting where they got it from. Do you know that the whole fitness world are now talking about something called intermittent fasting? Where did they get this from? Where did they get this from? You have bodybuilders, fitness instructors, and enthusiasts, and all these folks talking about fasting as being one of the key components in fat loss and living a healthier life, giving themselves longer years, all of these beautiful things as a part of weight training and HIIT or high intensity interval training and all of that. But wait, hold on. This man was telling us about fasting a long time ago. And the Bible didn't go into detail of, but he brought it into modern language to explain, here's certain vegetables, certain fruits. Here's how you do it. Eat as much fruit as you like. Don't eat this. Drink more water. You know, fasting every 24 hours does one thing. Fasting every 48 hours does something else. Hell, if you want to live a longer life, as long as possible, fasting every 3 days. I mean, you know, now hold on, y'all. Don't start taking that literal and just doing it. Read the books and get the proper prescription when you do this. But all of these things now that I'm looking at, I'm trying to figure out, well, hell, if a system says I'm going to put chicken on every corner because I know they're going to eat it. Well, whose fault is it now? We know about the devil. We know about Satan. We know what he does. We know the system. Okay. We don't need to sit here and continue to, well, they doing it. Yes, we know they're doing it. Okay. We know what they have in the chicken. We know it's chemicals. We know what it is. Why are we still eating it? Why are we still indulging in it? This is just a question that we all need to ask ourselves. Again, I know it's rough. Every now and then we may slip up. Your brother, look, I had some chicken, cooked some chicken breast last night, but I'm talking about chicken from a fast food restaurant. It's been, I think, about a week. I think last week I got dabbled a little bit in that, but hopped right in the gym 3 days back to back and burned that bad boy off. So
Okay.
we're not being hypocritical. We're not being hypocritical here, right? You got to get back up on it. Y'all know how this goes. So what this system has done by setting up fast food, by setting up drugs, by setting up alcohol, by setting up chemicals in the air, water, and food, by setting up convenience is now going to be the big issue, and it already is a big issue. And now, because they know that this is starting to not work as great because people are becoming more aware of their health and more aware of food and more aware of what to eat and what times to eat and where to buy certain groceries, etc. They said, well, listen, since you're becoming some more health conscious, not a problem. We're going to inject certain things into certain fruits and certain vegetables. mRNA technology is now being introduced in certain lettuces. They are now petitioning to put it in rice, bananas, potatoes. They have actually pushed to petition this for, I think, roughly 11 years now. 2013 is when they first petitioned to put mRNA technology, the messenger ribonucleic acid that are in the shots, that mRNA, they are now introducing it through certain foods. Thanks to the University of Riverside out here in California, they were studying lettuce and a few other food items and splicing the genes with food, because they said, look, you're going to get these shots whether if you like it or not.
Oh,
so what are we going back to? What did the most honorable Elijah Muhammad say, and what did the honorable Minister Farrakhan say? We must learn to feed ourselves. That's why Muhammad Farms exists. I'm going to bring it back home every time. I'm going to bring it back home. You act like you don't know. How many of us support the Staples program? How many of us put the money up to buy the vegetables, to buy the watermelon, to buy the navy beans, how many of us put the money up? Let's come on. Don't complain about not having it if you don't support what we already have. And that's my biggest thing. I travel all over the world and I see what this enemy is doing. We have to grow our own food. There is no way around this. This is a bastard devil that will never change. Can we reform the devil? No.
exactly.
No. And I'm talking about this system. Let's be very clear. This system is the same. Is everyone working in the U.S. government evil and wicked? No, I don't believe every single human being. No. But the system itself is a pure satanic system, and we cannot change it. So I know I can go into a whole lot of things about what they're doing, because I thoroughly can do that. But the overall idea is what they're doing to the food supply is not new. It's not old, and it ain't stopping. Next layer of things is something called let them eat bugs. Let me mention this to y'all. There is a company called All Things Bugs. Put it in the chat.
All things.
Text it to your family. There's a company called All Things Bugs, where they have cricket powder, where they have different insect ravioli and spaghetti. I'm so serious. Where they have these insect muffins. I'm very serious, y'all. It's called All Things Bugs. The moment you look up this company and you realize that they have a contract with DARPA, which is the Defense Advanced Research Project Agency. It's the arm of the government that comes out with robotic snakes, robotic mosquitoes, robotic lizards, robotic animals, dogs, etc. That's DARPA. They gave a contract to a scientist who put in a petition and put in, an application for a grant with the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and they gave him the grant. So now this man has a company producing food from insects, and they are calling it the greatest meal replacement plan to ever exist. They're saying it is the number one source of free protein, the number one source of free nutrition. It's crawling up under your house and it's free. This is what Satan makes evil fair seeming. Yes.
Whew.
And you think this is just going to stop? It ain't stopping. It's not stopping. So can we please stop acting like this man is some crazy person who, he got it right half the time. No, he got it right all the time.
Indeed.
Please. So get back to the idea of now vertical farming as a solution, because some people are like, well, I don't have land, brother. I don't have a house. I have an apartment. Okay, not a problem. Vertical farming. Please put this in the chat. Please support our sister and this channel. Put vertical farming, where you can grow from the ceiling or you can grow from the ground in these pots that grow food, fruits and vegetables up, right? So you don't need much of any area at all to do this. Vertical farming, something that we all should get into, because the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad continues to tell us, and the minister continues to tell us, that land is all we need. And for those of us who may not have it, then you can grow in your home. You can grow in your apartment. So the solutions do exist. All right. Solutions do exist. Just want to make sure we got that. But yeah, I'm not even going to go. I'm not going to belabor the point too much. I think y'all get it at this point. The proper food, exercise, proper water, proper rest, pulling away from the enemy's kitchen, as hard as it may be. That includes, I'm going to hit some of y'all in the stomach with this, Starbucks.
Oof.
All right. That includes Starbucks with the heavily GMO coffee.
Yeah.
Now the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Honorable Sulus Farrakhan heavily speak on the benefits of coffee, because coffee is a very decent thing to drink if that's what you choose to drink. Absolutely. Not that GMO coffee with them GMO coffee beans. Only thing I will tell you. So I would recommend, again, it may take some time. Some of y'all like, God, come on, bro.
I know.
I know.
Hit on.
Hey, sorry. It may take some time to wean off, because that's how they made it. Not just caffeine, but specifically Starbucks. You might want to look up the reports on Starbucks having how high the GMOs are in the Starbucks coffee beans. You might want to check that out. But there are plenty of Black-owned coffee shops. There are plenty of organic coffee companies, if that's what you choose to drink. Plenty of them, right? So there are solutions. There's solutions to that. But I just recommend, I had to just call out Starbucks because I know a lot of us like that good old coffee bean. And there's nothing wrong with it in general, but it is wrong with it coming from certain companies. And Starbucks happens to be one of the worst. So I just wanted to bring that up. But yes, ma'am. I hope that was, I hope I was able to bring it around.
Hey, listen, we needed all of that. Now you did hit me where it hurt with that Starbucks now.
Yes, ma'am.
But like I said before, sometimes truth hurt, but we need to hear it. And that's why I have you on a show to add to Healing with Angelica, because that's what it's all about. We all about health and healing. So
Yes,
praise be to Allah. I know we getting towards the hour mark. I did just have this one last question I wanted to ask before we end the show. Because I was also just thinking about as far as how much in general propaganda and misinformation is targeted in the Black community, specifically. How has the false propaganda and misinformation, how has that wedged a gap in the Black family dynamic?
Oh, man. Beautiful question. Oh, beautiful. There is a movement now that a lot of people are calling the sassy man movement. Sassy. That's just what it's called. You have a movement of men who have large platforms, right, on YouTube and Facebook and Instagram and TikTok and all of them, where they take the idea of holding women accountable and they go far beyond the level that needs to be real accountability. Now they start going into the bashing and attacking women in general, and generalize wholesale blaming women for everything. The downfall of humanity. They sound like some Catholic priests. Y'all don't even know, brothers. Y'all talking, she the downfall of humanity. She the one that ate the apple. Got it like that craziness. Yeah. A lot of them don't even know about that. But let's just say that's how they sound. And they're blaming women for everything that's wrong. It's like, whoa, hold up, wait a minute. Should women be held accountable? Absolutely. Should men be held accountable? Absolutely. Should people be held accountable for the wrong that they do? Absolutely. That's everybody. But there is this movement because of the miseducated individuals who utilize their trauma and speak through their trauma to a platform that millions of people are watching, and they are now misguiding generations of young men and young women. You have a whole generation now of young girls who are on OnlyFans. Let's make sure we talk about this, where they think, well, man, my friend is making 6 figures a year showing her body and having, so-called consensual sexual encounters with somebody, and people are paying to watch this every month. Wait a minute. You have a generation now where people are saying, you know what? I don't need to listen to my elders because I make more money than them. as I was saying this earlier, you got 14 and 15-year-old millionaires who got their millionaire millions through drop shipping and using Shopify and getting a cheap product from Alibaba, and they upsell it for 300 and 400% on their website. It costs 10 cents per, and they sell it for $4 over here, and they're making a quick profit. This is how the game goes as an entrepreneur. Some of y'all know what I'm talking about. So you have a whole chunk of that. So a generation of people who don't want to listen to their elders because they make more money than them. A generation of young women who feel that they can make money by showing off their body in a way now where it's consensual and everybody's okay with it because they call it sex work. And that's okay. And we can't slut shame or sex shame. This just Satan all up in this. And then you have men, I'm talking about their whole following. All they do is bash women. That's all they do. It's just women. And you ask them, brother, what was your relationship with your mama?
Ooh.
What was your relationship with her? See, hold on. If you want to go here, you cannot generalize because generalizations are the language of the ignorant. Generalizations are literal birth childs from insanity because you haven't met all Black women. You haven't met all Black men. Talk about the one that hurt you, brother. Talk about the one that hurt you, sister. What is his name or her name? Be specific. A logical person deals in specifics. A, B, C. Her name was Trina. She destroyed my life. Okay. Thank you. Now, what about all the rest of these women? Well, you're right. None of them did nothing to me, so I can't really talk about all of them. I got to just focus on that one. Thank you. Maybe we should do more of that. Be specific. And then after you get done talking about what happened to you and this person did this to me and boom, boom, boom. Now let's turn around and find out what the hell you did. So, brother, what did you do now? Well, I didn't do nothing to her. Okay. Well, what didn't you do that you should have done? Let's talk about that. What did you fail to do that you should have done? Well, you're right, man. I should have picked up the child. I should have paid more for the child. I should have spent more time with my baby. You right. Thank you. Okay, so nobody wants to be held accountable. Nobody wants to take responsibility. It's just a bunch of blame, bash. And there are literal whole movements of this going on right now. People are selling out arenas talking about each other.
Ooh, yes.
And shout out to my sister Nair Tavika Muhammad, I would say my spirit sister, my soul sister, yes. Sincerely. OG captain herself, a true soldier with the repair of the Black family. That sister has a powerful organization doing the very good, powerful, sincere, productive work that the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, the Honorable Farrakhan has taught us to do. And there are plenty of brothers and sisters out here doing beautiful work. So shout out to all of you who are not falling into the trap that has now redivided our families, which is crazy to me. Because during the 60s, in the 50s and prior, we knew who the enemy was. Like the minister said, we knew who it was. We fought together as a Black man, Black woman, and Black family against the system to be treated as human beings. We knew we were on the right track. We were on the same page. Now it's, oh, I don't mess with y'all niggas. I don't mess with these females, these B words. Y'all know how y'all are. You know, what would you rate her on a scale of 1 to 10? Just sounding stupid. What are y'all talking about? You have whole YouTube channels and pages of this right here. So, yeah, so on a scale of 1 to 10, what would you rate her?
Ooh, nonsense.
4? Yeah, 5, maybe 4.5. Yeah. So would you just I'm like, what is going on here? This is crazy. And we're wondering why we are so divided. And we don't have to even point at the system anymore because it has now, as Willie Lynch said, it has become self-perpetuating. Now everybody is just talking about everybody and destroying family. Nobody wants to take responsibility. Everybody is on child support. Everybody either wants children or don't want children, or they use children for a check and they're open about it. The women using the child for a check. The men using the woman to get a check over. It is freaking crazy. So the only thing that we can do, is our sister was saying, is set a good example. We have to be the walking embodiment of what we're talking about. Sometimes we got to talk tough to some of these folks and tell them straight to their face, brother, you sound stupid. You don't have to just, I'm telling you, this is why I get invited to a lot of platforms.
Yes.
I turn down about 90% of invitations. And I'm talking about big platforms, 1 million+ subscribers. That don't mean nothing to me. If you got 1 million+ subscribers and all you do is bash each other and talk about each other and all, oh, I'm exposing this, we exposing. You're never exposing the enemy. You're never building nothing for the community. You're never talking about nothing to productive. Okay, I'm not interested.
Yes.
Right. But I did pull up to Healing with Angelica. So that should tell you something.
To a lie.
Right here. All right. So we're going to get it productive today.
Yes.
That is a trend that we must destroy. The minister said, yes, we come in peace. But he said this too. He said, yeah, we come in peace and we believe in peace and we push peace. But sometimes you have to break a few necks in order to establish peace. Now, Minister Farrakhan said this. Now, of course, we're going to say he meant metaphorically, but he damn sure meant literally too. So, okay. On the metaphorical side, brothers and sisters, please stop being afraid to speak the truth, regardless to whom or what. If you see that this brother is out of his mind saying some straight up craziness about women, check him. You can check him in a righteous way, sister. Same thing with you. Say it to your sister. Sisters, check sisters when they're wrong. Please do. Please do. Brothers, check brothers when we're wrong. Because another problem is we co-sign it by our participation and are not checking our brother or our sister because, oh, I'm not trying to break the code. A lot of y'all sisters know what I'm talking about. A lot of y'all brothers know what I'm talking about. We ain't trying to say nothing about our brother. Why? Because we do the same thing and we don't want to be hypocritical and we don't want anybody to find out we do the same thing too. See, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
We gotta hold each other accountable. So I know we done passed the time, but seriously, we have to do this. There is no excuse as to why the Black family is so destroyed and divided right now, with the exception of what the enemy did, but how we're perpetuating it is the problem. We are now participating in our destruction in a way that is worse than ever before. So we have to do this now. We have to do this. We know the enemy. We know what he does. We know what the system does. We're fully aware. We know. But now we got to do this because the omnibus was Farrakhan said, I'm going to end it right here. He said, our number one enemy is our ignorance. And he said, second to that is the system of white supremacy. So our ignorance is the biggest enemy. And we have to take responsibility for self because that devil of self is what is helping to perpetuate what Satan's agenda is. If we take control of it and kill that devil within self, then the devil outside of self will have no control over what we do.
Woo! My brother came through and dropped that truth. Praise be to Allah, Brother Rizza. I just want to say thank you so much. Thank you so much for this opportunity for you to come on this platform and discuss a well-needed topic. Even though I put the matrix in it, and we're in the matrix, right? But this is a well-needed topic, artificial reality and the quest for truth. I also want to thank my amazing audience and Healing Tribe for joining me today. I pray that this episode was informative, valuable, and of course, the first thing first, healing to you all. Also, be sure to share, like, follow, and subscribe so you don't miss out on any upcoming episodes on any of your favorite podcast station. Closing the Gap broadcast on Facebook, CTG broadcast on YouTube, and of course, Healing with Angelica podcast on Facebook and YouTube to help spread this message of healing to those in need. Also, you are ready to start your healing journey but don't know where to start. Healing with Angelica is here to assist to get you started on your healing journey today by texting the word READY to 937-313-2466. Information will also be shown on your screen below, including the Healing Tribe merch and so much more. Also, a friendly reminder that any purchases that you make is to help to sustain and support Healing with Angelica. So please keep that in mind if you would like to continue to see us on the air. Brother Rizza, before we end today's show, I would like if you would talk about your beautiful, amazing product, the Intellectual Power Supplement, and also leave us with a closing remark.
Yes, ma'am. First of all, thank you, sister, for providing this space and this platform that is healing, productive, educational, uplifting, And really, I would say one of the solutions that help the people goes towards that direction of helping to heal the people, which is what we need. So I appreciate you for being bold enough to say, let me step out here, put my name out here, and then let me fight against this world in the way that I can and take my part, because, we have to find our place in the mission. And I believe you have found yours, and we are truly appreciative of you for doing that. So, number two, intellectual power. This here, which is has now become the number one Black-owned herbal brain supplement on the planet, and all praises are due to Allah for that, because it has truly taken on a life of its own. I can't hold on to it. It is all over the place, and the results are speaking for themselves. I created this as a result of the over 5 billion human beings being experimented on by the quote unquote COVID shot. Okay, and you won't get blocked now, just so you know, sister, by saying that word. You won't get blocked.
Listen, I ain't worried,
Yes, ma'am. That's right. So I created this because, the Honorable Farrakhan said, find a need that the people have and fulfill that need. My biggest thing was, I wasn't going to get back out here, travel this country and the world, just educating the people after knowing that they have been successfully experimented on physically by Satan. Okay, I couldn't just get out here and say, let me just educate. No. We have to bring solutions that help with the overall health and healing of the people. Physical, tangible. So we got the spiritual, the mental, emotional. That's all great. Those have to match the physical counterpart. The physical side has to be healing, as well as the spiritual, mental, emotional, etc. So that is why I created this. 13 herbs, organic, non-GMO, no heavy metals, properly sourced from the island of St. Lucia. Everything from the water to the full environment itself goes into this bottle. The capsules are vegetable capsules. This is How to Eat to Live approved. You are the first platform that I've said this on. This is How to Eat to Live, meaning it goes along the principles of How to Eat to Live. There are no mushrooms in this mix. As I said, How to Eat to Live approved. But and no shade to anybody who has mushrooms in their brain supplement, because I know a lot of people do. But I chose not to go that route, because there are thousands of herbs. And in here you have soursop, you have patchouli, you have vervain, you have carpenter's bush, you have turmeric, you have basil, you have rosemary, you have, of course, sea moss, bladderwrack. You have a lot of herbs in here that are doing far more than helping the brain. They're also helping with reproductive health. They're also helping with detoxification. They're also helping with immunity, a lot of things. So I would say go to intellectualpower.net and go read the reviews. Just go see what people are saying. You see what they're saying. And if you feel that it can help you, place your order, go ahead and grab a bottle. If not, that is perfectly fine. Somebody else will get it. Trust me, it's happening now. But I wanted to make sure we had a solution, or at least that I could present when I go out and speak, a tangible physical solution to help the people, so that they can't say he didn't offer us no solutions. No, we're bringing more education. All right. So you can't say that, well, Brother Rizza only talking. No. I'm providing something else that helps with physical health, because we already know if we don't have a clean body, as the Omnibus Farrakhan said when he was quoting the Bible, how can you put wine in an old wine skin? You have to have a new body to have this new mind in and become the new man and put on the new man. So I pray that this helps a lot more people. Intellectualpower.net. Sister, we will make sure you have your bottle. I'm going to have my team send you out one. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Praise be to Allah. I was going to give.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, of course. If you're doing it, like, for example, if you're drinking coffee for energy, one of the biggest things you will hear people say is the energy. So I want to mention that too. So some people are now no longer drinking coffee. Again, if you drink coffee, that's fine. But I'm just mentioning there are other ways to get natural energy. And this has been one of the most successful that people are saying. I know for me, absolutely. My sleep is amazing. I remember in my dreams. Energy is absolutely. So intellectualpower.net. Please make sure you go check it out.
Yes. Praise be to Allah. I'm so glad you got into details about that, because I wanted to know more. I know you get busy and stuff like that. So I'm glad to know that, because that's one thing I'm trying to get back is that energy. So we always
Yes.
need to continue to sustain and do what needs to be done. So praise be to Allah. I just want to thank you again so much for joining us today. My brother did leave us his information, RizzaIslam.com, intellectualpower.net. So if you guys are interested, come on now. We got to get our health together. It's time for healing. That's mind, body, and spirit. So praise be to Allah. Again, I thank you and I pray you guys enjoyed this episode. And we leave you all as we came. Assalamu alaikum. Peace, healing, and light.
Peace. Peace.